Hi, welcome back to our video fly tying series. I'm Steve Worley, owner of the Worley Bugger Fly Company, and today I'm going to show you how to tie the Foam Wing Mayfly Adult in March Brown. So in my last video segment, I showed you how to tie the Foam Wing Mayfly Emerger in March Brown, and I promised I'd show you how to tie the adult. So today, that's what we're going to be doing, and very similar body components, but definitely put together a little bit differently. Different hook, different hackling technique, and definitely different body technique. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to tie the Foam Wing Mayfly Adult. And I really greatly appreciate everybody's kind comments about our first video, so stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how to put this one together. So your first steps in building the Foam Wing Mayfly or Mayfly Emerger is punching out the foam wings with a foam wing cutter. So take your speckled foam from Wapsi, and this is the RRC cutter press. It makes it a lot easier. If you do a lot of foam work, build a lot of hoppers or Chernobyls or any kind of foam bugs, this is really a nice, handy tool for punching out foam. You could do it with a scissor, but it doesn't turn out near as nice as what the punch does. So lay your foam down on your speckled side. Put your cutter in there. And punch out one wing. And then what you have to do is you have to flip the foam over on the blank side where it's not speckled. And you have to punch out your opposite wing on that side. And that's so that the two speckled wings will marry up. And this is done in 1 millimeter foam. So what you have now is you have two married wings that you can attach to your Mayfly or Mayfly Emerger. And usually the best thing to do is just go ahead and punch out all your wings beforehand. That way you're all set, ready to go, and you can sit down and tie, as many of them as you like. You're not going back and forth. So it makes it a little bit more productive. It speeds up your fly tying just a little bit. So the last video, I showed you how to tie the Foam Wing Mayfly Emerger. In this video, we're going to do the adult version of the fly, and let's get started doing that. So the first thing that you're going to do is load your hook in your vise, and this is a wide gap Komodo dry fly hook, 106 size 12, and I'll attach my UTC 70 denier and just lay down a thread base here. So for our tail, we're going to use moose body. So clip off a small portion of the hair from the hide and take and comb out any underfur. Put it in your hair stacker and stack it so the tips are nice and neat. don't need a whole lot. So if you ended up clipping off too much, thin it out a little bit. Keep your tips even. And then to get your measurement, just lay it up on top of your hook. So your tail should be about the length of your shank of your fly. And we'll take and tie this in really tight in the back to where your tips are, the back tips are flaring. And pull that up, run your thread up to where you're about where your body's going to stop. Then pull that over the shank of the fly and casing. The shank all the way around, and again tight to where you see the tips actually flaring. And then we'll take and we'll pull that up. And the reason we do this is to add flotation. Moose is very, very hollow because it's such a big animal. So tie that in the front. And then for our body, you want to just lightly go over the midsection back to that starting point there in the back where you first tied in your tail. Next, grab a piece of holographic tinsel and we'll lay that up on top. And again, tighten it in the back. Run your thread to the front and then tighten that down, and then just lightly over the middle. And then again, same with your piece of D-rib. Making sure that the D portion or the concaved portion of the D rib is laying down. And just really lightly. This will just add a lot of flotation to this fly, especially for the March Brown. They're really high floating mayfly. They take and they push their arms up off the water. If you watch the adults when they're floating in the current. So we want this high floating. And by not trapping all that hair tightly, that's going to add a lot of flotation. So take your piece of holographic flash and tie it over the top. Pull tight, lock it down in place. And then next, same thing with your D-rib, making sure the concave portion is tied down, and then one wrap behind another. You can pull tight on it, and that'll give you the segmented look of the fly in the body. And again, it also will protect the body of that fly from big trout. Have big teeth, so they can cut through certain fly tying material pretty easily. This will just add some durability to your fly. Trim off the excess. Now you have your body built. Lay in a half hitch there. And then next, we'll take our wings that we pre-cut. We'll cut one from one side and one from the other side of the foam, so we have a matching set. And don't worry if the wings are facing forward. You can pull them back and build just a little thread base in front there. But again, that when we apply our dabbing, it's going to push those wings up and get them standing straight up. So then angle your scissor and cut these backs so they're at an angle, that back portion of that foam. Then you can take and run figure eights through. This will also help making the fly more durable, but getting the wing. Okay, so next we're going to add our rubber legs. We just can't have a fly nowadays without rubber legs. So on the adult, we're using a small round rubber leg that's speckled, and I'll just take one and I'll double those up. What I like to do is just run them around the thread and capture it, like and then just bring it right up along the side, and you can get them right in place. These are a little bit easier than the daddy long legs that we used on the emerger because they're slightly bigger. And we'll do the same exact technique on the other side. Get them in place where they're even alongside the shank. Okay, once you've gotten your legs tied in, you can take and trim them a little bit, just so you don't have a lot of material hanging out there in your way. And then we can fine tune it at the end. So next we're going to add our hackle, and again, much like the emerger, I like the furnace. And you want to, this is a size 12. It's a good idea to use an oversized by 1 for the March Brown, because again, like I was telling you, that the adults take and they use their front legs and push their body off of the water. So try and use an oversized hackle if you can. So I'm going to take and strip the quill. And we'll tie it in. And we'll tie it into the side of the body. And pull everything back. And then just get that quill tied in real well. Don't worry about your rubber legs if they're a little funky. Again, our dubbing is going to be the savior. It's going to be able to, it's going to move our wings around in place, although these wings are sticking up pretty good right now. But if for some reason yours are laying forward, you can use that dubbing to pull them up, as well as the rubber legs. So again, we're going to take our beaver dubbing, and you just match this for whatever mayfly you're tying. The March Brown has a really creamy underbelly, so I'm using tan or cream is good. Either one of them colors. Okay, so once we got our thread in place, got our hackle ready, make our dubbing rope. Just take real thin amounts of dubbing. Just roll that onto your thread. Slide that dubbing right up to the base. Make sure it's nice and tight. You can always add or subtract. That's the nice thing about dubbing. So what we'll do is we'll take and we'll start running this in between, and just watch how it's laying down. I'll take it, figure 8. In between our wings. And you can roll your fly around. It's a nice thing about having a vise that moves at 360 degrees, is you can really get a look at all angles and see if you have adequate dubbing or if you need a little more. We got a couple of bald spots here, so I'm going to take and add just a little bit more to fill those in. It's real thin. You don't have to it doesn't have to be big and chunky. And I'll pull all that back, and you can see we still have plenty of room here to finish off our fly behind the eye. And don't worry if you have, that's the nice thing about this beaver dubbing, is it has all these nice little guard hairs. You don't have to cut those out. That just makes your fly buggier for the trout. Okay, so for this version, we're going to take our hackle and we're going to wind it around the body, standard wise, not parachute style. And again, you want a nice thick body, so this thing is really standing up for you, the March Brown. Pull all that back out of the way. And once you got what you like, you can take and tie that hackle off really well. And then you can cut off any excess. And then anything that got trapped around the eye. Clean all that out real good. Just so you don't have trouble on the water getting your tippet through there. So then you can half hitch or whip finish, whatever you like to do. Cut off your thread. Then I'll just take a little bit of UV glue. Just real carefully. Not get it in the eye. Not get it on the hackle. And then melt it. You got that. You got your head all sealed up nicely, then you can just kind of fine tune anything that you need to. Pull these legs up and just cut a little bit off at a time. Don't get too carried away because you don't want them too short. You can just look at them and get them the proportions that you want. And again, like you got those guard hairs sticking up out of there. You can trim them out if you don't like them, but I leave them in there. So there he is. Pinch the barb, and she's ready for fishing. So that is the Foam Wing Mayfly, March Brown. Appreciate you watching.